So here's a question to consider. If you were to confront a poor person, what would be the better option? Giving him $20 begrudgingly or giving him $10 with a smile? Yale law professor Stephen Carter told how when he was a child, he and his family had moved to Washington, the first black family to live in that particular neighborhood. And he tells how he and his family were systematically ignored by everybody there until one neighbor, he said, saw them and gave a huge smile of welcome. And then she suddenly disappeared into her home and returned several moments later carrying a tray laden with cookies and milk. And she proceeded to go over and present this to him and his siblings. That moment, he writes, rescued him from despair and gave him faith that he, a black, could belong. And he adds that it was no coincidence that the woman was a Jew and she was practicing, he writes, the Jewish tradition of chesed, the imperative of kindness. And Carter's story reminds us that one act can change a life, and every life is in fact a universe. Chesed, compassion, is essentially what makes our world go round. The notion of reaching out to another, doing something for another, extending oneself for the sake of another. Our Torah portion this week has a categorical directive. When you encounter a poor person, do not give charity begrudgingly. You see, the mitzvah to give, that's already been enumerated and stipulated enough times. But often, even as we do, we might feel somewhat resentful. Psychologically, that might make sense. After all, you're giving away your own hard-earned cash. But spiritually speaking, when you appreciate that what you have is always intended to be shared, when you appreciate the Jewish tradition of chesed, and that charity really comes from the Latin word caritas, meaning love for others, then you give with a smile, not just an open hand, but an open heart. So faced with the choice between a begrudging $20 or $10 with a smile, do the $10. Why? Because it's cookies and milk. It's more than just money. It maintains the other's dignity. It restores pride. It's what rescues the other from despair and restores their faith. And this is an especially timely message now as we head into the Hebrew month of Elul on the countdown to the Jewish New Year. It's a time when we look to enhance our kindness and our compassion towards others. Contrary to what Nike advocates, don't just do it. Do it with heart. Do it with soul, because that's what it's really all about. Shabbat Shalom.